Hi, this is Zach here with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Monday the 4th of November. Starting off with the FTSE 100, which has bounced off the 200-day line and the floor of that rising trend channel from this time last year. Obviously, people, excluding farmers, thinking the budget wasn't that bad after all. End of day close back above September-October support there towards 81.60, and we're looking at the top of the range, 8400, hopefully by the end of this month. The other thing to remember is that first week of November, normally one of the best months or best times to get into the market. If you're really lucky, it's buy in November, sell in May. Otherwise, just buy in November, get out after the New Year's Day or the New Year end of year rally has finished. At the moment, though, looking for initially the 50-day moving average at 82.71, and for the RSI currently it's 47 to get back above neutral 50 to confirm that we have bounced properly as we did back in August. Moving on to the DAX, and here you can see holding above a rising 50-day line there at 19,000. While we're above that, looking for this market to head up to the top of the rising trend channel there, 20,500 by the end of the month, which seems a little bit optimistic, especially while the RSI remains below neutral 50 at 49. Worst case at the moment, looking for the floor of the channel there at 18,800. And I suppose even worse would be if there's some horrible surprise and we head down to the 200-day moving average at 18,200. But at the moment, ideally we stay within that channel there from this time last year. Moving on to the Dow, which is almost impossible to predict at the moment given the presidential election, but at least we're holding above a rising 50-day line there at 41,800. Above that, still looking for this market to head to 43,500 on the top of that rising trend channel from this time last year. Worst case, obviously, a move down to the floor of the channel there at 40,300. RSI at 46, which is below neutral 50, and hence there is a risk of a move down below recent support at 41,800 and push down to the floor of that channel. Moving on to Bitcoin, which has been slightly disappointing. Presumably won't do anything significant until the new president is elected. Uptrend line there from September. That's running around 67,800, and above that, still looking for a move to 75,000. Worst case at this point, seen as being a move down towards the 50-day line, 65,000. RSI at 54, so we should be turning up pretty soon, given the way that the RSI is still above neutral 50. Moving on to gold, and here we had a bit of a rug pull last week, but we stayed above the floor of that rising trend channel from June 27.20, and while there's no end of day close back below that, looking for 28.40 and the top of the channel by the end of this month. Worst case, I suppose, at the moment is we have to test down to the 50-day line. That's around 26.45, but we haven't actually touched that 50-day line since way back in July, so some might say it's overdue. Moving on to the stocks, and starting off with Altona, and here just the first signs of a turnaround, a very tentative turnaround, one could say. A rising trend channel base, we've gapped off the low, which is our signal ready for inclusion today. And while we're above the floor of the channel there at 1.2 pence, looking for at least a move up to the 200-day moving average area at 1.5 pence. But early above that, can we start dreaming of a 2.2 pence target by the end of the year at the top of that channel? As you can see, the shares have tended to fail at the 200-day line for the best part of 2 years. Another equally horrible stock in terms of the price action has been Bushveld Minerals, and here just including it on the basis that we've had the RSI very, very oversold, and we've had a few days of very strong candle action there, so opening at the low, closing at the high, 3 days in a row so far. We're back above the old support there, 0.38 from back in September. The longer we stay above that, the greater the chance of move towards the 200-day moving average at 0.8 by the end of next month, or at least the end of the year. The only problem is that in the meantime, we've got the 50-day line at 0.46, and that might mean, or might be, the end of the rally. On to a stock which had a decent update today, Clean Power, and here gapped off the low, hence the inclusion today, and basically looking for the shares to head up to the 200-day moving average 11p. If we can get through that on an end-of-day close basis, then the shares may do rather better than the last time, where they just spiked through the 200-day line and then fell back, but actually head back to the 20 pence area, which is where they were in March, hopefully by the end of next month. But early days on this rally, it's only really been included because of the unfilled gap to the upside today. Corcel is next and has had a lot of coverage here, which has done the stock proud in the sense that we've hit the target line there for the second time, 0.2, and above that looking now for the 200-day moving average and resistance on the, or rather support on the way down at 0.35 by the end of next month. Ideally, there's no end-of-day close back below recent support, 0.17, so a reasonable risk-reward set up there above 0.17, looking for the shares to head to 0.35. On to ECR Minerals, where there was a decent chat with Doc Holliday, Mike Whitlow on Friday, and that seems to have helped the sentiment towards the stock over the weekend. We've got, or we had, an unfilled gap to the upside. We also had a rising 50 and 200-day moving averages. So the call here, even before Mr. Whitlow appeared, was that we could get into the low 40s. That looks as though that is more doable than it was, or seems more doable than it did last week. Above the latest gap there at 0.31, looking for 0.44 by the end of this month or even sooner. Moving along to another situation which has been a real winner, which is EnergyPathways, and here looks like this consolidation at the higher levels. We had the previous target there at 9.6 pence at that line there from back in December, above 9.6 pence. We're looking for up to 13 pence by the end of this month or even sooner. Obviously, there's potentially some news out tomorrow that somebody's mentioned on Twitter or X, so let's see if that delivers the goods for the shares. Next up is stock which doesn't get much coverage here or anywhere else, which is Eneraqua. Here, just a chance of a rising trend channel base. We've got the shares gapping off the lows there and getting through the 200-day line at 42 pence. Best case scenario here up to retesting June resistance, 51 pence plus by the end of this month, while we're above 39 pence. Moving along to Global Petroleum, which has been one of the winners as well over the last, the early autumn, I suppose. Here we bounced off a rising 50-day line at 0.17 above that, looking for not only, we've already got the 0.22, which is the previous target, but looking up to 0.28 by the end of this month. Another well-followed stock is Mosman, and here, after the full storm through the 50-day line and through that resistance line there from July, we're having another go. The main plus point here actually is the way that we were bouncing above a rising 200-day moving average at 0.033. Above that, looking for another push through 0.05. And moving along to Mobile Tornado, where there's been hopes that the shares would finally push higher. Here we've got basically a rebound off the 200-day moving average there at 1.3 pence. Above that, looking for not only last month's resistance of 1.6 pence, but actually the shares to move up to 2.25 pence, essentially within a rising trend channel base, which I'm just drawing at the moment. Hopefully that will kick in for the shares by the end of next month, but still early days on that. The real sizzle would be a proper break of that resistance line there from last month on an end-of-day close basis, which we could get as soon as later today. Another stock which has been interviewed and has done well after that, in fact it did well before that as well, is Ondo, where the shares were called up from the, the break of that August resistance line there at 16 pence. The initial target there was on Ondo was 18 pence in the 200-day line, second target at 23.5, and now looking for the shares to head up to 30 pence by the end of this month, or hopefully rather sooner than that, given the current rate of progress. Only back below 24, already delaying the upside scenario. Moving on to Roquefort, which has also behaved itself. Here, a bit of jiggery-pokery either side of the 200-day line, but above that at 5 pence, and above our target, initial target there at 5.4 pence, looking for up to 8.25 pence, the upper parallel of that triangle by the end of this month. The key here, holding that 50-day line. Another winner here at the Bulletin Board Heroes has been Seascape, and here just trying to break out of the current mid-bull flag that we're in. It looks like a mid-move consolidation. Break of 39 pence could take us up to as high as 63 pence, which sounds rather unbelievable, but I am a believer in the mid-move consolidation potential that we have at the moment, and also the aftermath of a golden cross, which seems to be doing the shares quite a lot of good. On to the last two. The first one is Tekcapital, which seems to be flourishing with its share of microsalt here. You can see you've got the 50 and 200-day lines both rising. That means that we should head up to 13 pence at the top of that triangle there from February is a done deal by the end of this month, hopefully much sooner than that, and then hopefully by the end of the year up to 17 pence if everything goes well. Going well at the moment is UOG, otherwise known as United Oil and Gas. Here we've hit our second target there, which was well, we haven't actually quite hit it, to be honest. It was 0.33 pence, just missed that by a fraction. In fact, we've hit it, we actually hit that there, but the current situation is that above the old target there, 0.25, looking for a proper hit of that line there, around 0.34 before the week is over. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.